Hey everyone, welcome to How to Market to Federal Contracting Officers in Your Industry. Now we're going to talk about industry days. We already talked about capability briefings, which are extremely valuable and very important, but also industry days. Industry days and small business events are a little bit different, but it's another opportunity for you to meet with federal contracting officers and decision makers. So let's get right into it. So what is Industry Day for small business? Industry Day is a pre-scheduled federal agency event just for small business vendors like yourselves. It's to help you to learn about the current and future needs of the agency. They're looking for the different types of small businesses that are out there that can help them with any contracting opportunities that may be coming up in the near future or in the future, let's say, a year down the road or 2 years down the road. Regardless, if it is an event that could benefit you, you want to be there whenever you can. Most federal agencies have an Industry Day event of some form or another throughout the year. Remember though, federal agencies start their fiscal year October 1st of the preceding year. So for 2017, the fiscal year would begin October 1st, 2016. Okay, so it starts the year before. So for 2018, we actually started our fiscal year for federal contracts in 2017 of October. So October 1st, 2017 was fiscal year 2018 for the federal government. You can learn about Small Business Industry Days through the agency small business website or by going to fbo.gov, and I'm going to show you an example of that. But remember I said in the capabilities briefings, everyone has a small business website. Every agency has one, and you want to go to the small business website when you're looking for information because you don't want to get all mixed around and confused in the large website. You're not going to find what you need. So always go to the small business website. It's so much easier. It's much more focused for what you're looking for. And then number 4, every federal agency has a small business events area to help meet their 23% small business goals. Remember, the entire federal budget of the $400 billion, 23% of that every single year must be spent with small businesses. So these events that are called Industry Day, or they're called outreach, or they're even called bid meetings, are to discuss up and coming specific projects and for you to meet decision makers. If you find out that there will be no decision makers there like federal buyers or contracting officers, find out who is giving the information. If it's a PCR, a procurement sitter representative, you can probably bet that that will be valuable. But when it comes to these industry days, you should expect that contracting officers are going to be there, and project managers and contract specialists, and even the users, which is huge, the users that need the products or services. So check into it when you decide to go, but most of the time I've been to them myself and I find them very valuable, extremely valuable. You meet people that you may never meet, and they remember you. And then number 5, industry days, outreach, and bid meetings are to assess the small business interest level, the small business capabilities and availabilities, and the scope of what small businesses can do to meet the goals. That is why they have these, so that they can determine how much should they be setting aside. There are lots of reasons why they have these industry days, but keep in mind one thing: it's all about you. It's all about your small business. It's all about how you can make money with the federal government by giving them what they need, supplying them with what they need. So which events should my company attend? Before you decide to attend any events, do your homework. Before you spend even $1 to attend an event, do your homework. Unless you're for sure that you know what the agency buys, what future and current contracts they have, just do your homework before you decide. Okay? And if you're not going to do the homework, don't go. Because if you don't do your homework before you go, you will not benefit from what the event has to offer. So do your homework. Always make sure that this is not an event just to meet large primes. Sometimes they have those, but you're not going there to meet large primes. You're going there to meet contracting officers where you can become a prime. So unless you're trying to become a subcontractor, don't waste your time. So you need to find out who's going to be there. I'm not saying that it's always a waste of time, but check with the agency, the small business office. Make sure you understand what's going on. But unless you're trying to be a subcontractor, why do you need to go and meet primes at these events? Especially when the primes are getting their contracting dollars, but a lot of times the subcontractors are not. So just make sure that you understand why you're attending the event. And if you're trying to grow your company, you're not looking for a lot of subcontracting opportunities. You're looking for prime opportunities. That's what federal government is all about. Number 3, federal contracting is designed to help you grow your company. It's not like at a state level. Even though state contracting opportunities can be good, they're mostly subcontracts where you have to deal with a lot of nepotism and who knows who. Federal contracting and federal government is not like that. So if you want to be a prime, which we want you to be a prime, stop chasing primes. You don't need to chase a prime if you want to be a prime yourself. So the difference between being a subcontractor and a prime can literally be worth millions and millions of dollars, and all you need is one to get yourself moving on the right track. Number 4, you want to play with the big leagues, in the big leagues, I should say. Federal government has carved out a space for small businesses. That's that 23%. And we all know 23% of $400 billion is $92 billion. So, just make sure that you understand. If you're not ready for the big leagues, don't go to these federal contracting meetings. Don't do industry meetings. Don't try to have capability briefing meetings. Just stay where you are or do state level. State level, you can get all the subcontracts you want. But on a federal level, you don't have to beg large primes to be a part of the action. At the federal level, you can create your own action. You can create your own path. So you simply need to start thinking different. And if that's too much for you, then you should look for partnerships and subcontracts and teaming and all of that. Number 5, call the agency to find out if contracting officers, project managers, or users are attending. If they say only small business specialists, then don't go. You're wasting your time. Small business specialists do not make decisions. They only support the contracting officers. They should act as though they have more power over the situation, but I'm telling you, most of the time they don't act that way. So, you want decision makers. You don't want to be spending time with agency people that feel as though they can't do anything to help you and they have no answers, even though that's what they're paid to do. But I always told you guys I would be straightforward with you and very honest. And small business specialists, they're great people and they are good for specific things, but they're not good for decision making. That's not what they do. So how do industry days work? The first thing is that industry days, you should know, are generally open and organized sessions that, they can be a huge opportunity as well. They're just a little bit more, they're focused, but they're less targeted on one person or one company or one small business. It's more geared towards the masses of small businesses that are interested in doing business in that industry. But you can get different types of industry days too, and I'll tell you what I mean by that. Most often, there are presentations first, Q&As, and then you meet and greet contracting officers sometimes, PCRs, procurement people, project managers, also contract specialists, and users. The users are very important people. When I say users, I'm talking about the people, the employees that contracting officers are buying for. So you get to meet a lot of interesting people, and sometimes there are large primes there, but not to say that you don't want to meet them, but you want to meet the people that make direct decisions at that federal agency. And a lot of times there are different departments at that industry meeting. So you can meet, so let's say it's the Department of Justice. You may be able to meet folks from the FBI, the ATF, Bureau of Prisons. All three of those that I just mentioned, they spend a ton, billions and billions and billions for their departments under the Department of Justice. So Department of Justice is the agency, and then the other three that I just mentioned, those are departments under the agency. Small businesses can have one-on-one sessions with the contracting officers and the specialists and the project managers, but that usually happens after the presentations, and they'll usually let you know. They'll tell you in the lineup that there will be presentations at this time, Q&A sessions, and then you'll have one-on-ones that you can schedule with specific contracting officers or specialists. And so you kind of know what's going to happen for the full day. But if you don't see that on the advertisement, then you need to ask those questions. 4, these are people that can get you in the door. Again, so you need to be confident. You need to send your highly qualified employees if you can't go there yourself. But if you're the best, then you need to attend. Don't put that off. If you're the best and you really want this business, then you need to go. And 5, have your capability statements and cards ready. This is where you're going to pass them out, and you need to take a lot of them because this is an industry day meeting. It's not like it's just going to be 6 people or 4 people in a room like with the capability briefings. This is different. This is an open session. You will meet lots of people. I would say take 50 to 100 if you need to, because you never know who you're going to pass out your capability statements and your cards to. And if you have something that's special that they can remember you by, bring a lot of those as well. How industry days work as pre-bid meetings. So let me just tell you, sometimes you will see an advertisement as industry day, but it's like a pre-bid meeting, meaning they want to sit you down as a group and talk to you about a project. And so they call it an industry day, but it's not really your typical industry day. These are really, really good, as a matter of fact. So industry days are sometimes really pre-bid meetings to present a new up-and-coming project, and these are generally open and organized sessions to help small businesses understand what the opportunity is, to see if they want to participate. And this is one, I find these very exciting because you get to meet the decision makers all in one small room. It's not like a big open event like with industry day meetings from the top level agency. These industry days are pre-bid meetings that are going to tell you all about the project. The users can be there. I've been to pre-bid meetings and called industry days where I've met the users, meaning who's going to be in the building that the meeting is about. Who are these people that are making the decision, the users? I've met the project managers, the contracting officers, and even the boss of the acquisition, the chief of acquisitions, which would be the boss of all of the people that are there. Project managers I've met, been able to personally give them information for our clients. It was an amazing thing, and it happens all the time. And when I say all the time, I mean in different industries, but if it's happening in your industry, make sure you take advantage of that. And you'll get notification if you're signed up in FBO.gov the right way, you will get notification of a meeting in your industry. And you want to be there with bells on. And you want to be there with your capability statement, your portfolio, you want them to remember who you are because they need the interest from the small business community. If it's a small business set-aside project, that's what they need. They need small businesses to participate. It's very exciting. And then most often there are presentations first with this, a Q&A. Then the small businesses hang around and meet with the contracting officers, the specialists, project managers, and the users. I said that already, but I want to reiterate, if you go to one of these, don't leave without introducing yourself to these decision makers. I have been at pre-bid meetings, which were called industry days, where I could not believe how many small businesses walked out of the room without even giving themselves an opportunity to meet with the decision makers. What a mistake. Horrible. I just couldn't even believe what I was seeing. So don't be one of those. Just bring your best game, bring your best capability statements, be ready, because if you see that this is an industry day and they talk about a project, that's your cue. So put your best foot forward and show up. Showing up is 60%. And then once the bid is out and you're bidding, they'll remember who you are. These meetings are also kept kind of small. There's usually about maybe 25 to 40 people, sometimes less than that. So it's just a huge opportunity. And then 3, small businesses can walk right up and talk with the officers. I just mentioned that. I talk ahead of myself sometimes, but you should feel free to approach these people after the presentation is over. They have that Q&A session, so everyone asks questions. People ask questions that maybe you don't want to ask yourself, but I am talking about the opportunity to not just learn about the project, but the opportunity to meet with the people that will make the decision. And number 4, these meetings truly are what I call golden nuggets. So send your best to meet these folks. And if you are doubtful about your best, then go yourself, because this could be an opportunity that you may never forget. It could be your first $1 million contract. And then 5, have your capability statements and your cards ready. Your cap statement, it should be clean and neat. If it's going to be two-sided, that's fine. Have some of your experience on the back, whether it's commercial and or government. So here is an example of an industry day special notice that you can find in FBO.gov. If you're signed up in FBO.gov with your right NAICS codes and you've done your homework, you know what your NAICS and PSC codes are, you will get these notices in your industry. But a lot of times they may have an industry day, which this is an example of an industry day for a specific agency. So if you know you want to work with this agency, if you were under NAICS code 611, you would probably get a notice about this. If you were not under that code, you may not get this notice, but this is why I preach and preach and preach about doing your research first. Because if you don't do your research and your homework and you don't know what codes the federal buyers are using, the contracting officers are using, you won't have the right codes and you will miss all kinds of things like this. So this is an example, a great example of the Department of Navy, and they're having an industry day, and it's all about small business programs. So they want you to come and talk to them about what's going on. And they may even want to talk about a specific project, but it'll tell you if you just read the special notice. That's the other thing I want you to notice. The notice type is special notice. A lot of these industry days fall under special notice. Now, this is new, fairly new. There is a small business events button. When you go to FBO.gov, you go down to the right, down to the middle of the page, and you will see a button that says Search Small Business Events, and you can pull up all of the small business events around the country. Here's another example. for the outreach under the special notice. Now, this is for the IRS. They are doing some outreach for some specific type projects, but you should read these because a lot of times you have to register and you need to let them know that you're on your way or that you're coming. They also give you instructions. So whenever you see these, make sure that you are reading all of the details before you just assume that you can attend. Of course, you can normally attend, but you just need to make sure that you read the instructions because most of the time they're telling you that you need to do something if you want to attend. Now, when I clicked on the small business events button, I got all of these opportunities for small business events that came up. It's 148, and I did that based on the last 30 to 45 days. And so I would click on each of these to see what they're talking about. But these are a list of the small business events. And would I just go looking for these? Yes, I would, because these are huge opportunities. So what's your role as an Industry Day attendee? When you go, you must be confident. Please be confident. You know, you can tell the difference between those who are confident and those that are not. If you're a nervous person, again, if you have someone on your staff that does better, send them. But be confident in your appearance, who you are, and what you have to offer. Your role is to be prepared. Again, you need to do your homework for the agency that's holding the event. You may have only one impression, and the first impression is everything. You could meet a decision maker, and you wouldn't even know it until you met them and they told you. So be on your best. The way you can impress federal buyers and decision makers is, like I said, with capability statements and capability briefings. Do your homework. Understand who they are, what they do, and what they need. Those are the three most important things. And if you don't understand those three things, usually it turns them off because they don't want to have to educate you about every single thing. And then 4, as soon as you meet an agency official, introduce yourself, give them your cap statement and a card, and then ask them about themselves. But make sure that you are being very professional and that you have some information to hand over to them so that they will remember who you are when you start bidding. Mostly you should listen because you learn a lot when you're listening. But you can ask questions, of course, but you need to know. There's no need to sell yourself, with what you do. So I should say overselling yourself in these arenas, in the Industry Day meetings. It's good to tell them, but just be confident and cool and simply tell them what you do and where you're from and your business name, company name, and let the conversation flow. And then when you're done talking, don't forget to get their info. So what to do after the Industry Day event? What do you do? Well, just like with your capability briefing, within 24 hours, you must take 2 steps. You should email them and thanking them for the opportunity to meet with them and talk with them and remind them of who you are. And you should make sure that you go and get yourself set up for that agency with FBO.gov and or FedConnect to start receiving pre-solicitation notices from the agency. And again, all of this is for nothing if you don't bid. So start bidding as soon as they start coming. Once you start bidding, they will likely remember you, just like with the briefing. The advantage is that you got to meet them and you know who they are. More than likely, they remember who you are. You too can start winning federal contracts worth millions and millions of dollars, but you need to be focused, you need to be committed, and you need to watch my videos. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. And please leave me your comments and don't forget to subscribe. You need to let me know what industry you'd like more information about, and let me know what you need in general if you have questions and whatever it is you want to talk about. Thank you for joining me today. I'm Michelle Brown. See you in the next video.